What up, my queeks? Ruinous Man Thing here with part 11 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Lord Croak, Throt the Unclean. I don't know why I thought of Lord Croak. First I looked at Thankful and I was like, Thankful campaign? No, wait. Although I'm sure Thankful does think it is his campaign. That is pretty par for the course for him. But anyway, Throt the Unclean campaign. As we saw last time, Thankful, whose campaign it may not be, had a fantastic battle against two stacks of the dwarfs of Crocker Ravensfog. The battle definitely went in our favor, though we did take some damage in terms of actually fighting it. I really enjoyed that one, and also the fight against Serena Catrin with little Ickbold here and his pile of Skaven slaves and abominations. It went pretty darn well as well, and though we may have lost many a Skaven slave, they're easily replaceable. Now, in terms of what we gotta do this turn, I believe it's a brand new turn, and while I did move the heroes around apparently yesterday after the episode had been completed, I didn't move anything else, which again is par for the course. So let's get started. Now, Throt the Unclean, you're going to move over here for two reasons. Reason the first being that you need to head down here to deal with this, hopefully before any reinforcements either from the Iron Skins or from Karakadrin arrive, but two, because of this. Elspeth von Draken has arrived at last, and really? Whenever I have allies, they will build the worst possible allegiance unit. They will build like a frickin' Skaven slave or a skink or a... Not the skinks are bad, but it's just the worst possible unit, or a zombie. When the AI has an ally, they build a frickin' demigriff. Okay, yeah, game. Sure, why not? Anyway, this is obviously a problem, and we'll need to possibly move Throt down to deal with it. What we can also do, though, is level up Mr. Bilefitch, give him definitely Vermintide. He has plenty of mana, so he should be able to cast everything, so let's get blessed with Filth and Plague Rash as well, like so. Decent likelihood of him dying, but we'll deal with it if it happens. And I guess what we will also want to do, great profit leadership for Skaven slaves, it's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all. You know what, let's do this. Great profit here. Again, you're a little bit expensive, but what you can do is spam Skaven slaves. What do we have in terms of range availability here? Basically nothing. Alright, so let's get at least a few Skaven slave slingers to help out. And then we'll do two more Skaven slaves out of this, and then we'll do the same thing here at Erengrad. Hey, a frontline rat. Alright, fantastic. Oh, but do we want the frontline rat here? I'm just gonna say yes. Alright, frontline rat Contagia K, you're gonna do the same thing, and let's get you piles of rats, and... like so, and like so. Beautiful. Alright, it's not going to be maxed out, but we will have one more turn as Elspeth von Draken, rather, presumably moves here, here, or here, and that will decide as to how we're going to deal with that. And of course we could summon, for example, rat ogres, because they're cheap and we do have them. In fact, I'm almost tempted to get a couple of rat ogres in every single one of these armies just for that particular reason. It's not like they're expensive, but then we could then sort of draw them together into one army, or even just with the giant pile of Skaven slaves and then head down to Reisbechhof, and I kind of like that. Alright, let's do that. So we're going to take out you and let's say, I don't know, you, and disband. And we don't know where, I keep wanting to call Elspeth von Draken Serena Catrin because we fought her last time, but anyway, you can get two rat ogres, and you can get two rat ogres, and we'll see how she reacts to all this. Although, if, she goes out of raiding stance, I do wonder whether she'll be able to go immediately into Rusvenhof, but I guess we'll have to find out. Anyway, Krokronid, you're next, buddy. You're going for Goranitch, and I guess you're going to raise it to this time. I don't imagine the Borsursus is in range, though he will attempt, I'm sure, to hunt you down. And let's also apply your points before we go, because I imagine there's at least some points to be applied. Unit XP is actually probably good for this army now. Yeah, they're mostly maxed. Well, they're not quite maxed out, but they're getting there. Ashen, Mystique, and Favorable Winds are both at rank 20, so that'll be a while. Let's move through this and at least get you Earthing, because if nothing else, you're probably going to be spamming Warp Stars. And Armor of Darkness, and probably Veil of Shadows as well. In fact, let's max out Veil of Shadows. Alright, what about you? Warlock Engineer, you have the Ballistics Calibration Sapper Extra Powder, and Arms Dealer and Triangulation, so you have the most important stuff. We could get Flensing Ruin just in case. I don't dislike the spell, so maybe we'll go for that. Assassins, you can get Bloody Blade for a single point, is not too bad, and then I guess move on into Counter-Strike. Although ambush success chance would be, I'm sure, fairly helpful. Enemy leadership is only for characters. I don't really care about that. And yeah, let's go through Counter-Striker. Somebody's gonna need to fight Boris, presumably. Counter-Striker for you as well. And then lastly, Mr. Cronied himself. Let's see. I guess we're just going to head directly towards Deadly Onslaught. Yeah, why not? Scarred Vet's still kind of meh on him, so let's go for the Weapon Strength. Let's go for the Weapon Strength Woundmaker, and then Deadly Onslaught. Frankly, he has enough points to get all these stuff for anyway. Anyway. Do we manually fight? You know what? I'm going to say let's manually fight this really quickly. The thing is, we could obviously auto-resolve it, and that will damage our armies significantly, and with Boris Ursus nearby, I'd rather not have to spend the turn healing up, so I'd rather just kill the enemy army like this, and then be at full HP ready to fight Boris afterwards. Especially since if his army is anything like Gestalten's army, which has a bunch of elites like Griffin Legion and... I know there was a bunch of stuff in there, Zargard and all that, and then we'll actually have to be careful with the way that we deal with them. Anyway, you guys are going to get slowed down by that forest-eyed wager, so we will deploy in such a way as to take advantage of that. Now let's go here, like so, and let's go here, like so. And then you guys can go here. You are Vanguard deployable. You guys are now Vanguard deployable as well. And let's get you on the flanks like so in case you need to be repositioned. You guys can move in like this. And then reposition yourselves in front of everybody else like so. You in front of them. You guys here. And then you will go here. And then the assassin or the... whatchamacall him. Ashen Sorcerer out in front. I guess he could go out in front to cast that Warp Fireball, but I don't think I care enough. Especially since it's a small battle and the enemy stands no chance. And who did I forget? What is this? It is... oh, the Ixis Triads. Okay, yeah, that's one I shouldn't have forgotten. Let's put you here. Most likely the enemy will charge at us with those things in the woods, and we will need to deal with them. Alright, now we're looking good. So, start battle, and move you all here. You can move to the side here. You can all also turn off your skirmish mode. You can move here, and you can move here. Like so, and then we'll speed it up to max. And there's the charge. Alrighty, Brood Horror, get ready to... I was about to say countercharge it, but it looks like it's not going to be needed. In fact, let's activate the Ballistics Calibration now. That unit is destroyed. Let's go for the Doppelgang, get it in the way of the enemy things in the woods. Enemy Patriarch just about done for. You can move forward. And then everybody here will activate these, like so. Whether it's helpful here, considering we're firing away, is... I don't know, we'll see. It doesn't matter over much either way. Alright, the enemy Boyar is nearly dead. We don't even really have to control this army all that much, because again, it's a smaller enemy force, and frankly, I'm a little bit more worried about the Brood Horrors getting attacked by enemy units, and ooh, you can actually back off now that you're damaged. Alright, shurikens, keep on chucking, as one does, while we back the most damaged one away. You can keep throwing as well. You want to go chuck those bombs at this guy, and let us also not Veil of Shadows, although I could have used it. Let's go for Armor of Darkness on you guys. You can now back off. Alright, looks like that unit is nearly done for. You guys taking a little bit of a longer time to fire away than I'd like, but it is what it is. Let's fire that Doom Rocket at those Cossars. Alright, you guys just stay back here because you're damaged now. Not that you've taken a lot in the way of losses, mind you, but more damage than I'd like. If you're wondering why I'm not running the Brood Horrors and the Assassin at the enemy, it's because in this battle and in battles past, in battles past and in this battle as well, I'm sure if we had moved forward, then our own units would have killed off plenty of those units, or heavily damaged, rather, the Brood Horrors and the Assassin. It's happened many a time. There we go. Alright, easy little fight, relatively minimal damage, and battle. Probably could have backed off that unit a little bit sooner to not get the 21 losses, but at least this way we don't have to be concerned with having to then sit there and heal up. And are free to raise the place as well. As soon as the thing stops loading, of course. Also, somebody else suggested that we use the plague... we use the plague commandment to get the plague guy on the field and then use him as a scout, which actually wasn't a bad idea, though at this point I think we have scouts moving to all of the rats that we need to move towards, so I guess it no longer matters all that much. Alright, come on now. There we go. And we will raise the place. And Pigeon Plucker Pendant, sure, that's fine. You can go into channeling stance just because you can, and we'll see if Boris moves towards us. And we'll try to go and grab Goranitch afterwards, as you're going to be too far away to get that place as well. Kastalton will be fighting you in a second as well. Skittice. You go to Crocker Ravensfok. And we are at 95%, but yeah, I think we'll just take it at tier 1. It's all good. It's all good, because this place has to be built from scratch anyway, so it doesn't make any real difference. Alright, like so. And then Thankful, I would like you to move in... I mean, we could march stance and go all the way into Grung Stekbrud, thereby heal up, as well as... there we go. As well as switch back. Never mind, we didn't... Huh. Wait. Were we unable to? Maybe we were able to reach it, I don't remember. Also, these guys need to be ranked 6 before they're leveled up, so we'll wait, and I forgot what I was going to say, but I guess it's not super important right now. Oh, you're gonna need 2 mutant rat ogres as well. As well as potentially another plague priest. Let's take a look if we got any decent plague priests running around. Sorcerer... Scab's card, and then lovely. Oh, but I was going to get another one here, and in one turn they'll be available. I think it's more important that these guys have plague priests, because they don't have anything right now. Yeah, fine, fair enough. I probably will stop bothering waiting to get the Scab's card ones as well. Anyway, Mormel, I need you to do several things. First of all, you are going to grab this Packmaster. Well, grab this Assassin. Like so. And grab both of the Packmasters. Here. And here. Then you are going to... grab the... Wait. Wait again. Wait for the 50th time. Go for the dominating scheme here. Growth control, but most importantly, recruitment cost reduction. Like so. I might get you another assassin if I have time for it. In fact, I'll probably do it. You... And then assassin building. And then, yeah, you can keep collecting the income, and then you can go for the breeding stock. There we go. And then I guess that means the assassin, well, we'll have to swap out some of the stuff. Anyway, another thing I would like you to do is to build up the gutter runners with slings and poison. 4 of them for now. Then you are also going to take the rattling guns from this army. Like so. And then Skip Twice we are keeping. Aramamute we could potentially be keeping. So anybody have any decent stuff to transfer to him? You, Absit. Alright, you are nobody, right? Yeah, Overlord. I don't particularly like you. Alright, so go here. Transfer to this guy the clan rats, warp grinders, dogs, and night runners, and then take away the weaker... I mean, 3... That's fine. Ooh, 6, 5, 7. Well, either way. Lose some of the Slinger Skaven slaves, they no longer really have a purpose, and frankly, 1 night runner is kind of stupid, but anyway. Huh. Keep 1 and then upgrade it to a night runner? Can you? I'm just going to assume that you can. And then lose... Oh, wow. This guy has the 3rd level of instability, which means that he's basically useless because he'll just get obliterated. And this has a tier 2. This has a tier 2. We could take out the tier 2 ones as well. 2 unstable. And keep the tier 1s, lose the tier 2s. Like so. And Asgard, lose this one as well. All right. Like so. Then that was all given to Ramamute, who will... I just want to check here. Can you upgrade to Night Runners? Oh, Clan Rats can upgrade to Night Runners, so there was no reason to keep you. Well, I guess we'll get you a hero anyway, so goodbye, I'm just gonna... goodbye. Anyway, Absit and Kolscurry. One of you take the pile of Skaven slaves. I don't really care who it is, because you're both gonna get deleted. And let's say... I don't know, let's say give it to Kolscurry. Or actually... Lose the Skaven slave slingers, gain all of these guys. There you go. Alright, Absit, you can move down here now. Skid twice, you can move down here now. Like so. Stay with them. Mormel, stay here. Aremamute, you're going to move with them to occupy some easy settlements, and then we'll probably redo your army. Whereas Hallscurry is going to move up northward to Karak Ankul, where he will use the arsenal to build some Jezzails and rattling guns for Mormel here. And that'll be nice. Can you get any heroes? You have the Pestilent Knave, so if we wanted a caster, which we potentially could, we could pop that in there as well. Though we do have the presence of the Pack Masters. And we will need a caster in that army, and Warplock Engineer would be the best, actually. And oh. Now, after all those turns where this was free territory, you're going to go over there and colonize it? So rude. Well, maybe he'll give up on that idea, we'll see. I still find it tremendously rude, but what can you do? Anyway, Bilefitch, you are stuck where you are, my friend. Mormel, we just did. Medible Hemlock, you're about to fight. Ickbolt, you're about to fight with him. So, while we will be about to fight Treyr, you have a thing to be doing. And that thing is... Where are we here? 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 5 will be the dwarf thing, Manus. Is 5 sufficient? It'll have to be sufficient for now, and then I'm going to say start with giant pile of Skaven slaves as well. Similar sort of situation to the army with the piles of Hellpit abominations. This is just so that this army can get started and get moving out there, you know? We'll send it out there with just this, and then we'll slowly but surely get at other units as well. We could do Warp Lightnings here. We don't have a lot of capacities of them, though. I'd make the army too expensive. You don't have Boom Master, do you? Somebody had Boom Master, but I don't remember who it was. Go figure. This would help against the large targets that this army would inevitably run into. The main problem is that the Doomflayers would thus need some kind of support. We could run some Packmasters with them then, which we probably should do, admittedly. Alright, fine. Let's do a couple of Warp Lightnings here. And we'll use the Doomflayers to mince enemy infantry, and then Packmasters, what do we have here? Poxbringer and Deathbringer? Well, isn't that perfect? Poxbringer, Deathbringer. Perfection. Alright, they started level 5 as well. Not enough for a Rat-Kateering, but enough for Tide of Death and Tide of Pox, at the very least. And lovely. Alright, and that's good for you, and that actually costs a lot of our money, but it is what it is. Anyway, you guys, let's level you up and then let's pop on into the fight. Foe Seeker for 1, and Foe Seeker, not Foe Seeker for 2. Let's get your Blade Master. I definitely didn't do Thick-Skinned, so you were a traded lord. You, Offensive in Camp, and then go here. Medible Hemlock, switch to, I'm gonna say Channeling, so that we don't immediately... I mean, they don't have much artillery, and it's a relatively short-range artillery, so yeah, switch to Channeling so that we don't ambush. I like to fight him in the field. Will he run? He will not run. Valiant defeat, casualties high, perhaps unsurprisingly, because we've got the... lots and lots of good elite units. But hopefully we can overcome. Gonna have to worry about the heavy war sleds sniping our Hellpit Abomination since they're still damaged, but hopefully it'll be enough. Anyway, for this particular battle, we'll give you the Banner of Swiftness, though we'll switch that to another lord afterwards. Anyway, time to mob Castalton. Go.
Slay enemy foes!
Alrighty, here we go. Pretty excited for this one, I gotta say. This is the nice thing about having to spend longer time traveling and all that about Old World, as you spend more turns, and KISLEV has the chance to build their elites. We've got Zargard, we've got Ice Guard, we've got Griffin Legion, Heavy War Sleds, all good stuff, and much more elite than we might otherwise be seeing. Anyway, looks like the enemy will actually rush towards us, interestingly enough, rather than allowing for our reinforcements reinforcements to get on the field, which, you know, smart move, I suppose, as this army by itself would probably have a difficult time. We are waiting for the reinforcements, but I didn't expect the enemy to move towards us immediately, so we're going to have to adjust to it. Rather than having the rat ogres and such in front, we're going to back them off so that the enemy doesn't hit them with the Kosovoid archers and damage them. Kosovoid archers are kind of garbage units, generally speaking. At the very least, damaging blobs of infantry like this. They have a weird habit, this particular missile cav or range cav or whatever, to sort of concentrate their fire in one spot a lot. It means that they're okay against single entities, and with their anti-large it does make sense that they are, but are a lot less so against infantry blobs. Almost useless at that, in fact. Anyway, we backed off the Rat Ogres. This does, however, allow the Griffin Legion to move on through, but we have 2 ranked spears in front, swords in the back, and as soon as the enemy charges, we countercharge them with our Rat Ogres and Bonebreaker riding chieftains. Griffin Legion are, of course, going to be a toughie here, but with the Rat Ogres there to do the armor-piercing damage, the enemy unable to move through the piles of rats, it looks like we're okay. Over on the right flank, it looks like one of the heavy warsets has decided not to plink away at us in range, and will actually go into melee, riding right through 3 units, was it? But eventually getting bogged down by sheer number of Skaven slaves and closing the distance with help at abominations, which should start tearing through. Same said war sleds, who rapidly lose 50% of their HP. Same thing is happening over on the left side, as one of the war sleds here has been caught by a unit of wolf rats. These are the non-poison wolf rats, and thus have a decent amount of armor-piercing damage on them, and thus should be able to bring down the war sleds fairly quickly, even if the war sleds are heavily armored. And there we go. And with the 2 units trapping them, they're unlikely to get out and similarly lose half of their HP. It's time to start moving at least a few of our units forward. Summoned clan rats and the Skaven slaves that have arrived as reinforcements are rushing towards the enemy Zargard. Our units of Night Runners continue annoying the enemy Kosovoid archers, which are nearly out of the battle, nearly destroyed, and it looks like the first of the Griffin Legion has at last been focused down by our Rat Ogres interspersed among our melee line. Rat Ogres still holding strong, taking a little bit of damage, of course, but with the sheer number of Clan Rats and Skaven slaves that we have, the enemy Cav is unable to take too much of an advantage of it. Another unit of Griffin Legion about to go and disappear. There we go. Last one will get crushed by a Bonebreaker. Beautiful. Gestalten's all the way back there. We've actually killed off the Oregon guns with the summoned clan rats and are now distracting Gestalten. Of course, they have no chance of actually killing or probably hurting him all that much, but that serves our purposes here as he's not providing any buffs to his main line, which, elite or not, are getting absolutely overrun. And there we go, certainly using those rat numbers to our advantage. Frankly, we've been doing that a lot throughout this campaign, combining piles of infantry and monsters. And it does feel very appropriate for a Moulder playthrough. Obviously, if we were playing Scryer, we'd be more relying on more reliant on weapons team spam. When we did Throt, we relied on tons and tons of Plague Monks all over the place. You gotta play it a little bit to the faction that you're playing so that they don't all feel the same. And obviously the same for Russian, though admittedly we have been relying on Krokronid as our second army, and he's done fantastic work. Anyway, the third and final unit of Griffin Legion, caught now not just by the Rat Ogres, but by help at Abomination as well. Warp Lightning comes down, the droves of Skaven slaves surrounded, and it looks like these units of Griffin Legion are out of the picture as well. Definitely a great fight, though. Still need a little bit of work. These guys are down to the dregs of their units, wavering. Huh, shouldn't they be in By Our Blood? Well, no, they're not in By Our Blood. They're just fighting to the last, essentially. They actually fought to the last. Look at that. Huh, go figure. Well, good for them. Brave Griffin Legion fought to the last man. I think they've earned an appropriate doom, as the Slayers would say. Anyway, looks like there's still Zargard and Armored Kossars, and I believe Vice Guard in the background somewhere to take care of, but with the help of Abominations and stuff running around, they're going to have a problem with it. The Ice Guard are currently being distracted by piles of Clan Rats. And this is the Halberd, or Glaive rather, variant rather than the Twin Blade variant, so they're going to take a long time to work through those Clan Rats, which works well for our purposes. And there we go, the Zargard are nearly done for. Looks like this one unit is in by our blood now, unlike those Griffin Legion who decided to fight to the last. And maybe they don't want to fight to the last because of the enemy. This is a pretty horrifying place to be. 3 Hell Pit abominations in front of you. Rat ogres behind you. Where can you go? What can you do but die? Alrighty, just getting those last shots in as it looks like the balance of power shifted to 95% in our favor. Kastalton has fled the battlefield, did a little bit of damage to Mandible Hemlock by the looks of it, but with that, the last of the enemy units will be the Ice Guard, and in a few seconds they will break. Under attack from those 2 units of Clan Rats as well as the Wolf Rats now, and there we go, they're done for. As well, the KISLEV elite unable to deal with the rat hordes and the monsters. Isn't that a beautiful sight? We took damage, but we were always going to take a fair bit of damage here. Lovely. Alright, perfect. Despite the severe disparity in troop quality, we use the tried, tested, and true strategy that we have before. For example, when we fought the Slaneshi, they had all that cav and chariots and all that available to them, but sheer mass of units prevented them from charging right through them in the same way that the Griffin Legion could not. Certainly, they still managed to rack up a decent amount of kills on the Zargard, on the Griffin Legion, on the war wagons, war sleds, on the Ice Guard, etc., and on Kastalton himself, but, well, 1,400 kills when most of them are Skaven slaves are just not good enough. And we got a nearly 10k reward for our trouble as well, which is pretty nice. Yes, sell those off. Oh, lovely. Kastalton's gonna back off. His trait confers fire damage, does it not? I assume it's to, yeah, it's to the Lord alone. So now Mandible Hemlock has fire damage? Enables flaming attacks. Now he has poison and flaming attacks. You have Horned Rat's Blessing, eh? No, it's not bad. You may not be directly a fire army, but this might actually work decently well for you, since I was going to give you some flamethrowers for the purpose of causing enemy additional leadership shocks. Actually, you're going to have a bunch of stuff. Death Runners for rear charges will be nice for a leadership shock or 2 as well. Anyway, Ickbolt gets a Brood Horror. Yeah, you can... Well, actually, I actually prefer you on the Bone Breakers, sir. At least for now. I will think about whether we want... Do we want to give Ickbolt the same defeat rate? Is it just... Let me just see here. Faithbreaker, leadership on unknown territory. Ooh, okay, that's atrocious. And it gives you enabled flame attacks. I feel like we probably don't need it on this guy as well. Oh, actually it doesn't really matter because you kind of have a terrible main trait with just Skaven Brew. And no buffs or anything like that. Though on the other hand, that means you could be a generalist leader of whatever you please, just not the Skaven slaves or Clan Rats because, well, they get no benefits. Yeah, I'm gonna forego getting you the fire damage. There's a lot of fire resistances to be found, and I don't see the reason, so we're just gonna have Mandible Hemlock move in, and then knock out Kastalton again, and not pick up that defeat rate a second time. Ambush this time around. Poor guy, out of resolve. And 111 losses, and a little bit more cash for our trouble as well. Oh, lovely. And we killed in battle a Relic Sword. We will not be able to reach Chibakov, but we'll be able to go there next turn, so let's encamp. Let's... Oh, you can sit back in our own territory then. And heal up to the degree that you can. Actually, I would like you to also recruit some Skaven slaves. So, these guys are barely healing due to their terribleness. And you can recruit how many at a time? 8. So, pretty much as many as you want. Alright, like so. Like so. And like so. There we go. And then the rest of you can simply be replaced. Beautiful. Alrighty, and it's next turn, unless I'm mistaken, that we get your casters. Yeah, alright, that's fine. That's fine. You, do we want to move you closer to Chibakov? I don't think anybody's near enough to actually attack you, so you're free to move closer to it. Alright. And wait, that gave you... Okay, you already had Ravenous Expansion you did as well? Yeah, alright. Hence the bonuses. I believe that's it for this turn, unless I'm mistaken, which means just 2 things to do. Diplomacy and building. We already started the recruitment, and it's going decently well.
Warlock master of scrap.
I guess you should have a scabbed scarred guy then, shouldn't you? Oh, I mean, you can cast yourself. Maybe you'll be fine. All right, I'll just leave you alone for now. Let's see about the building. A Riverlinsk, you're waiting for next turn to be building, and Krakow Ravensvok, you're, getting your public order in order. You, Skulak Dreng, should still be buffed up for the purpose of using your capacities. Western Oblast. Okay, there's a lot of stuff to do here. We completed Milkalavas, so let's go for Milkavala, sorry. Overseer's Lookout and storage caves and fungi caverns, whatever, and then let's build the Warren here at Kamish. Why Kamish instead of Virgisar? I don't know, I picked it random. It's all good. Yo. What do we have here? Kazadir Kulaz. I mean, looks like you can build a capacity building, which I guess is going to be another breeding stock, though admittedly, maybe we could use a couple more assassins. Admittedly, we also don't need that many assassins. Probably need chieftains more than we do assassins, so I'm tempted to say maybe we build a couple of chieftain structures in this particular location. Why not? Wait, actually, out of curiosity, chieftain structures give you 30, whereas this gives you also 30. Okay, so it's the exact same amount. Alright, let's go for a couple of chieftain structures. Fine by me. Northlensk, yes to the food. And Svedora, soon we will delete that defensive structure. Karakankul, you had lost your defensive structure and no longer have it. We could go for the construction cavern, which I guess once again we do want everywhere. Might as well. Ropsels, yes to the giant fungi caverns, but hold off on building anything else. Yes to the giant fungi caverns, same with you. And not going to build the expensive buildings as yet, but we will build the warp lightning capacitors, and the public order, and the mushroom tunnels, foregoing everything else, minus the public order and the hell pit building. Moulder building, whatever. And then you can max out that scrap heap, and then the only thing you'll be missing is, I don't remember, we're not doing food here. Oh, it was the Clan War Council. Still gonna be a bit before we do that, but otherwise, we're good. Alright, skip diplomacy. A real quick check. No trade agreements. Huh, that's been a while. Alright, well then I guess we can ignore the rest of this. At least I don't think we care enough about any of this, so we will simply end the turn. Alright, it looks like Elspeth will indeed attack, and she chooses to attack Bilefitch. Now, it is Elspeth herself, and she's a pretty scary caster on that dragon, against whom we have little recourse. The Hellstorm rocket battery and the mortars are going to be a problem, the demigryphs are going to be a huge problem. Let's max out the number of menaces below we have for this, and see if Bilefitch can carry the day. Good luck, Mr. Bilefitch. Go. Alrighty, here we go. This should be a really interesting fight. The troop disparity is pretty high, but the number disparity is pretty high as well. We have so many units for the enemies to break through, and I'm just going to talk briefly about how we've set this battle up before we start, because it's, well, it could go by fast. So, the enemy has split its army into three sort of blobs. We got 5 units and 5 units here, and then Elspeth is leading the other 10 units, or 9 units, I guess, of the other army, or the main portion of her army. Elspeth herself, the Demigryph Knights and Knights of the Blazing Sun, basically the sort of Reichsguard as well, basically the sort of fightier elements of her army, the more elite elements. Over on this side, we have 4 units of, well, 3 units of melee infantry, 1 unit of missile infantry, and then 1 mortar and or rocket battery, so 1 artillery piece. So, and the way that we've deployed here is we have 3 units of Skaven saves and 3 units of Skaven saves who are immediately rushing towards them. A menace below Clan Rat will be immediately summoned on top of those Hellstorm rocket batteries. And then we have deployed over on this side 2 units of Clan Rats, 1 unit of Plague Monks, and then 1 unit of Rat Ogres. Since the numbers here aren't high, there's no Cav, and there's no Elspeth to command them, plus the fragility of the missile infantry and the artillery, we're just going to bog them down in melee, or tear through the weaker infantry, and then leave the great swords for last after we've dealt with them. And then the same thing is happening on this side. The Plague Monks are going to circle around and hit the enemy in the back, together with the Plague Ogres, while the Skaven Slaves and Clan Rats keep the enemy distracted. Over where our main sort of army is deployed, we have deployed like, I don't know, 18 units of Skaven Slaves, or maybe 15, I don't know, a lot. And basically, the Demigryph Knights and the Reiksguard and whatnot, they've got their work cut out for them, because they're going to have to enter the settlement and work their way through all this, and continue to do so as they make their way up the ramps. Interspersed amongst the piles of Skaven Slaves, we have spear-wielding Clan Rats as well, as we have the sword Clan Rats over on the other side. Up on top of the sort of ramps here, we have the 2 Rat Ogres waiting. We have both of the units of Gutter Runner Slingers with poison ready to fire down on the enemy below. Our 3 Lords and Heroes are up here as well, as Elspeth is likely to go for them, and between the Rat Ogres here and the 3 Lords, we should hopefully be able to take care of her, or at least bog her down while we fire at her with the Gutter Runner Slingers. And then, of course, the single entrance means that we position the Plague Claw catapults to hopefully fire upon the enemy there. Let's see how it all works out, shall we? Elspeth's going to start the day with a Spirit Leech on one of our units of Rat Ogres. Our Menace Below Skaven Slaves have arrived and have come into contact with the enemy army. It looks like the Greatswords will react to them, but at least they're tying up the artillery, and that's just fine, as piles and piles of Skaven Slaves make their way forward, followed by the Rat Ogres, while the Clan Rats and the Plague Monks move into position where they want to. Same thing is repeating itself over on this side. We have the Skaven Slave units that have already engaged, and the faster, or not fast, well, I guess the Rat Ogres are faster. The other units are looping around to hit the enemy in the flanks and the back. Elspeth has in the meantime moved on in, getting a couple of spells off, wasting her Dragon Breath, her Coruscating Blast, as the AI, I guess, doesn't recognize the fact that it needs to be used against a single entity. And as expected, okay, Plague Claws, be careful. As expected, we'll go after our solitary Grey Seer, but, well, since that's expected, that's why we kept all of these units back here. So all 3 of our Lords and Heroes will move immediately towards Elspeth. We're also going to use our Rat Ogres and their mass to trap Elspeth in place, while both of our missile troops start focusing her down. Down on the ground below, we have the Reiksguard, the Knights of the Blazing Sun, and the Demigryph Knights charging on through, but similar to the KISLEVites previously, they just cannot get through the sheer mass of rats, and we've got plenty more where that came from. Elspeth is down to 40% of her HP, as she just can't break out. And there's a lot of units and heroes and such focusing her down, and it looks like she won't be able to cast too much in the way of spell work shortly. Plus, Wither upgraded reduces her armor to a mere 10, so even the lack of armor piercing on the missile troops and Skaven Slaves allows us to do damage to her. There we go, or her dragon to be more specific. And there we go. Now it looks like Elspeth is done for. She's not getting out of this one. We've also set our Plague Claw catapults to fire into the blob, not targeting any specific unit, but targeting the location. Elspeth drops under the sheer weight of numbers. More of the enemy elite make their way forward. The Reiksguard and the Demigryph Knights probably going to be in the combat for a while here, but that's just fine. Again, I don't really see them easily making their way through this. All the while, Plague Claws continue dropping their projectiles on them, and so do our units of Gutter Runner Slingers. Isn't it beautiful? Again, there's something, well, ignoring the range aspects of it, there's something that reminds me of Skaven playstyle, of the Undead, which I really enjoy. In the same way that you can bog the enemy down with just gigantic piles of zombies and skeletons, you can do the same thing with Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves, so it works out quite well. Anyway, out here the artillery have gone, and it looks like the Halberdiers are next, though they're having a fairly decent little fight against our Plague Monks here, at least. But soon it'll only be the heavily armored greatswords that remain. Actually, this is kind of an interesting matchup. I would expect the Plague Monks should, in theory, be able to win against the Halberdiers if they're buffed up, but this is a garrison unit, and thus they're not nearly as effective. Massive melee defense on the Halberdiers, fairly decent melee attack on the Plague Monks, but effectively no melee defense. But the slow attack on the Halberdiers, and the fact that they're not unbreakable, means that they will be routed. There we go. With Elspeth destroyed and her cavalry unable to make their way through the piles of rats, it looks like the battle is going in our way at about 90% balance of power. And the Plague Claws continue firing down on the Reiksguard and the Knights of various kinds below. And while the occasional shot, I'm sure, will land amongst the Clan Rats and Skaven slaves, that's just fine. We're willing to lose plenty of them to do a little bit of extra damage to the halberds and demigriffs and whatnot. And it looks like the demigriffs are down to, 30% of their HP, and we'll book it on out of there. Same thing goes for the Reiksguard and the Outriders, who have given up, unable to make, look, they opened up this sort of hole in our lines, so decent work for them, but they had a lot more ground to cover. Beautiful. With that, Elspeth's army will shatter, and the battle will be ours. It's lovely how many Skaven slaves we can just sort of pump out very quickly to help defend territories like this without needing to pump out full-fledged armies. It works nicely. Anyway. Alrighty, there we go. Poor Elspeth. That did not work out well for her at all. And that there battle was a great example of why it's such a bad idea, generally speaking, to attack a Skaven lair or warren or burrow or whatever particular settlement type you're attacking, because there's just so many ratlings that they can throw at you with the nastiness of warp bombs, menaces below, and their tech on top of all that as well. Very, very nice. Sorry, Elspeth. At least she was brave enough to try. Alright, Tunneler and Rose by any other name, missile explosion radius and explosive missile damage for you. Oh, you're the Boom Master. Oh, well that worked out well. I was on purpose, guys. Absolutely, completely on purpose. Alright, Vilepitch, I guess we know that you're going to be commanding an artillery-heavy army. Nice. Can't CC, upkeep reduction, stock, wind defend, etc. Growth fat patch available, good. We can go to the next thing, which got... Huh? Oh, did I delete this building? Underway Crossroads? Oh no. I didn't even... Weird. Unless we lost the... What the heck? Underway Crossroads? What is that? We had that available before. Or it's not Rat King. I definitely did delete Rat King. Deeper tunnels, underway... Oh, it was this thing. I did delete that. I did, because I'm an idiot. Alright, I guess we're just going to have to rebuild it. Well, damn. Alright, my bad. Too bad. Not that this thing we really care about right now, nor do I really care about Spy Nesto, although we do want to actually build up the Spy Nest thing, which we are building, but we're out of this territory now, meaning we can go now and grab the explosive mutation catalysts and give us recovery. I don't know if this is every unit or every lord and hero, but I guess we'll find out next turn. It would be nice if it was every unit, because it'll counteract some of that instability that we've been having to deal with. Anyway, you little guy are going this way instead. Take the extra 2 turns by, stealing tech from all of these guys instead of our allies. You'll find Moors eventually, I'm sure. Throt. What is this? Oh, would you look at that? Snorri Nosebiter is here, and it looks like these guys want to play. Isn't that lovely? Can we try to ambush them? I mean, we could. Give it a try. We'll see if anything happens. Oh, wow. Well, I mean, it is Karak-Kadrin, but that's still a lot of Slayers. And you know what? Slayers probably want to be ambushed, and I'm sure we're willing to oblige. Anyway, let's see what we have here. We should level up for this, just in case it's a toughie. We do want to max out Retinue Physician, I guess, so we will still move through that. Goranitch, rank 25. Let's max out Fill the Chalice, and now we just go through your Fighty Tree, which admittedly we've been avoiding, which probably should anger a former champion of Khorne. But it is what it is. Hard to hit. Definitely need armor, HP, and defense on all of the Packmasters, as they're super fragile. You have Retinue Quartermaster and max out Savage Rat. There we go. And then Tail Weapon. You, Plague Priest. We could get Plague. We've used it once in this entire campaign. I'm not huge on the spell, I will admit. Just because the cost and... At least Overcast. What is the Overcast cost? That's actually not so bad. Huh. I thought it was more expensive. Maybe I'll pop it off a couple more times then. You. You need to get to tenacity because you're quite vulnerable on that plague furnace. Maybe we should get the warpstone tokens as well. We should also grab renowned, and I guess onslaught. We are attacking a lot, so let's do that at least. Then maybe all the way through to potent. You, little fella, blade shield, scarred vet, colossal strike, and on that bone breaker, I'm sure that'll be helpful. I don't really care about the gland control, so let's just get you more HP via Scarred Vet. Alrighty, and then the second last, I should say, you have Savage Rat. I guess we can max out Retinue Quartermaster into Tail Weapon and then into Hard to Hit as well for you, buddy. Huh? What? Wait. Throt, are you telling me that because you guys have Scavenge, but because I leveled this guy last, it's now ignoring it? Well, if I give you an item, will that counteract it? It's so dumb. Wormslayer Sword. No, it will not. Damn, there's something you can do to get it to reactivate, but yeah, this old version of the game is not... What about an ancillary? Can I give you an ancillary? Apparently not. Wow, really? No ancillary whatsoever can be put on a Packmaster? That's just tremendously rude. Well, whatever. Anyway, not much we can do about it, even though it's probably going to cost us like several thousand gold. But whatever. Blade Shield into Colossal Strike, and Ruin and Decay is kind of meh, so at least let's go for Woundmaker. And then... we would have the points to play around with Quartermaster. Well, actually, we don't need Quartermaster. His army is actually shockingly cheap. Well, frankly, all Skaven armies are shockingly cheap. Let's get Ancient Cunning for the times that we will ambush. And maybe Lightning Strike. It feels like the sneaky little rats will probably like that sort of thing. Crocronid, you might want to go for Boris. Hey, he's built back his Warbear Riders. Thought we killed those. Maybe they did survive. But anyway, let's see what else we've got before doing that. Crocker Ravenswalk. We are waiting for Grung Drekas, assuming that we fight these guys. They're not going to give it up to us, and yeah, these guys did take Drake Fjord Port. Go figure, and I'm willing to bet now this place is worth more than it was before. Monolith of Horthax. 59! It used to be worth 12 when it was a ruin, but now that they have the complete province, that's no longer the case. Well, isn't that a shame? And do we just kill these guys then? I hate that they're occupying 2 settlements in 2 of our territories. I think that can't stand. We're just gonna have to attack them. And they've got decent defenses here, although this is mostly... Ooh, the spawn of Slaanesh actually gonna be a fairly big problem for Thanquil's army type in particular, eh? Let's get us... Can you jump over to Mammoth Boneyard and start working through these territories? You can. Although these guys do occupy a fair bit. I mean, we could just take this and then ignore the rest of this here. It's kind of... It would probably cause us to be at war with a lot of factions if we did it this way. The other option would be to... So there's a road here. Don't intend to declare war on the Legion of Chaos at the current time. Would it just be fat? I mean, this would give us the opportunity to fight some Slaaneshi, which we haven't fought a lot. I will think about it. Let's delay that for future Ruinous. Alright, Skit Twice and Mormel and all of you guys. Okay, so first of all, Hallscurry, you, once again, are going to go here, and I would like you to build, let's say, I don't know, 1, 2... 4 rattling guns? Let's do 4 rattling guns. And then 3 Warplog Jezzails. Did we run out of money? Why can't you? Oh, we ran out of space. Alright, fair enough. You're a 2nd level instability. First level. Oh, really? Nobody to delete? Alright, fine. We'll delete the ones that are slingers then either way. Alright, and then you can grab a couple of Jezzails. There we go. And that'll go into Mormel's army, plus some monsters and some range. I also wanted you to get a assassin. But not of these variants. Okay, so hopefully we can get you another one that isn't awful. In fact, you... Nah, you know what, stay in the army. Oh, right, that reminds me. Okay, first of all, build this. We'll move those guys in a second. That reminded me that I wanted to grab a Plague Priest here. Sorcerer, Scabbed Scar, definitely you. Experience gain for Plague Monks and Plague Claw Catapults. Good for a Plague Army, not good for anybody else. Alright, now. You, Medibel, will go to Chibukov, which is fairly poorly defended. I would like you to go here, reinforce, so that we can raise it and occupy it on the same turn, and move to the next place as well. Might actually, I was about to say, might actually have to send one of you guys down here. Although whether that's the case remains to be seen. Anyway, Medibel, go here. I'll resolve it real quick. You've been running around with this really medium casualties. Really. Should I? Maybe we should manually fight this. Maybe I'll do that between the episodes just so we don't waste time. Since time is limited and all that. Anyway, skip twice and this giant pile of units. Alright, I guess you guys are gonna still have to move southward. We don't have military access with you guys, but at the same time we're going this way anyway. Oh. You know what? Just give us really won't give us military access. You're trying to get yourself killed there, Lamian Sisterhood? And we could betray them, but I guess we'll just ignore it for now. Alright, fine. You can go into encamp. And you can get... Wait, we're immune to diplomatic... wait a moment. Immune to diplomatic penalties from trespassing. Ha! It doesn't matter. Alright, so go here and then we'll jump to there afterwards. Beautiful. I had completely forgotten about that. Now we don't have to backtrack, essentially. Fantastic. Alright, maybe I should have moved a little bit closer to this. I'm just gonna hope that we can indeed jump over, because this portion of the mountain looks a lot thicker than this portion. Anyway, Mormel, you're gonna have to collect your guys, and you will collect them from Hall Scurry once he's ready, but for now you can just sit here and camp. Maybe move closer to Hall Scurry. He's probably gonna have to march stance anyway. Just go here, it doesn't really matter. Alrighty. And I take it there's nothing else that you want to recruit? Actually, you know what? Channel, because you will be fighting. We're definitely going to need to get you a Warlock Engineer, but I don't know whether we can at any time soon. So we're just going to have to forego that. Anyway, Scout, are you finally in range of Skaven Blight? It looks like we might find Scryer either this turn or next turn, because I see Skaven Corruption nearby. And as soon as we find Scryer, we should be able to find Eshin. And... oh, we found Eshin. Okay, that's funny. Diplomacy. Clan Eshin, there we go. All we gotta do is... I was about to say establish a trade agreement with them, but they didn't want to trade. Oh, we're trading with too many factions, and now Eshin doesn't wanna... man, okay. If we do military access and non-aggression pact... no, you still don't wanna. I guess we could declare war on Schmidt's Renegades. Okay, declare war on Schmidt's Renegades and Bordeaux Errant. There you go. And then this will give us vision. And, you know, give us your money, because that annoyed me. Not that any of them are of any kind of threat to us, but do it. Alright, and then as soon as we do that, they, by virtue of the technology, will give us a vision, which will hopefully thus immediately... oh, we could do a defensive alliance with them? Yeah, sure, why not? We should do defensive alliances with the rats of all types, because we get a benefit out of that. And more vision, why not? Alrighty, now, that should have given us vision of Scryer, should it not have? Scryer? Yeah. Alright, so Scryer doesn't even want a non-aggression back. Oh, come on, man. They're fighting Krun and Sigmarsheim. Alrighty, fine. We'll declare war, we'll join war against Sigmarsheim and do the non-aggression pact. Eventually that will probably lead us to other trade agreements and all of that. Anybody else want to be friends? Not anybody that we care about. You know, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I guess it doesn't make sense, because Skaven will trade and work with anybody for Warpstone. It's just kind of interesting that this is one of the factions, one of the rare factions where it feels like almost everybody likes you. I mean, obviously not the Order Tide factions down here, but a lot of factions like you, and it's kind of interesting. It's kind of the opposite of the undead, where everybody hates you and wants you double dead. Skaven are pretty good. Anyway, Medable and Triven the Infectious. So you are gonna go pop into... No. You're gonna pop into... I misclicked and it started going all the way into help it. Going to go into this army. Ooh, we should keep an eye on new pack masters. Not pack hunters, but yeah, keep an eye on those. You are going to build a few more Skaven slaves so that you're ready to immediately move out next turn. Do you want a couple warp grinders in there as well, just for fun? I mean... You have the Warlock Master for casting. Presumably we'll need at least one Plague guy. I'm almost tempted to get a couple of Eshin Triads just to protect the 2 Warp Lightning Cannons in case somebody comes a call. And somebody, you know, the Eshin Triads will be a little bit more effective than the... yeah, you know what, I don't dislike the idea. Pop in a couple of Eshin Triads. And then we're at 17 out of 20. 18 out of 20 will be the Dwarf thing. Then so I'm just going to get it in there now, otherwise I'll forget. And then... Oh, I forgot about Natty Bebo's Sharpshooters. I feel like the Teethbreaker should go into another army, but if we pop the Natty Bebos into this army, and we can reduce one of the Jezzails. Funnily enough, what's his face? Thankful uses 1 Jezzail, so we could have popped them in here. But you know what? The Silencers are now a storied unit of their own, so... 61 to 61? Doesn't matter the difference. And failure. Oh, come on, little tech thief. What is this? Anyway, you know, there's some more admin things to do, and I think this is probably a good time to call the episode, and I'll just take care of the same set admin things. And between the episodes, then we can start back with more combat. I'll start the next episode by fighting Boris Ursus with Krokroni 10 Scratch, as we continue moving up north and taking territories with him and these guys. And I'll fight this between the episodes, because obviously... Close victory, medium casualties. I don't want both of these armies hurt like that when they really shouldn't be. So we'll leave that for me to take care of, and the next time we will continue... Oh, right. Continue dealing with stuff. I just want to make sure that we kill you. Hopefully the auto-resolve actually lets us do this. Move on into reinforce. Can you move on into reinforce and march stance? No. Alright, I am concerned about the fact that these guys still have demi-griffs. You know what? Pump a couple more rat ogres in there. Oh. I don't know, lose this. This unit is already damaged. You lose this one unit. And pump a couple more rat ogres in there. Like so. And then go. Heroic victory. Yeah, but none of the rat ogres will die, and we can just get these Skaven slaves back, and I don't feel like doing this because it's a waste of time. Auto-resolve. We know we'd win. Alrighty, and we got a dwarf hide banner. But there were no dwarf units in... Okay, well, whatever. We'll sell those guys off. And you can go back and re-up those Skaven... Oh, I just realized... Are you gonna die because you're... You know what? You stand near this guy. And in camp. Because this guy might just try to attack it. Yeah, it's just a giant pile of mortars, but it's still good enough to kill off the U. And then in the meantime, you can rebuild your pile of Skaven slaves. And those that aren't healing very well, like you, can also be taken out. And then you two can be merged, and then you can be merged with, I don't know, you. And then we can merge a couple more. Okay, this is the admin stuff that I was talking about. I'll deal with the rest of that between the episodes. More rats to come, so stay tuned. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. Boris Ursus and Karakadrin next time, so stay tuned. All glory to the algorithm. Thanks for watching.